Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at UFC Fight Night Lopes versus Silva, or UFC Noche or Noche UFC, whatever you prefer. I'm going to give you my predictions for every fight on the card. I'm going to start with the prelim. First up, first fight of the night, we've got Rodrigo Cenzonado versus Daniel Donchenko. Both guys making their debut, both guys new to the UFC. Daniel Donchenko is the smaller guy. He's moving up a weight class. He's coming up from lightweight. I'm going to be picking Donchenko because of this. I think lighter man skill, there's not a massive size discrepancy between the two. And I think lighter man skill is probably going to carry him to a victory in his UFC debut. So, yeah, we're going to go with Daniel Donchenko. I'm thinking by a TKO. Yeah, I think Donchenko by TKO. Next up, we've got Alice Pereira versus Montserrat Rendon. I don't like nepotism, but despite that, I'm going to be picking Alex Pereira. Sister of Alex Pereira, she's been doing well over a karate combat. She's on a 5-0 streak. I think she's a champion over karate combat, if I remember correctly. Someone in the comments will have to correct me if I'm wrong. And now she's coming over to the UFC, making a debut against Montserrat Rendon. I'm going to be picking Alex Pereira. I think she gets it done. I think we see a little knockout here. I think she's under some good tutelage with the older brother and his gym. On to the next one. Oh yeah, Alice Pereira by TKO. I know, a women's fight that I'm predicting a TKO for. Crazy. Next up, Alessandro Costa versus Alden Correa. Yeah, Correa. Bit of a tough one for me to pick. Again, Correa making coming in unranked, making a debut in the UFC. I'm leaning towards the experience of Alessandro Costa, so I'm probably going to go with Alessandro Costa by decision. I think it's going to be a pretty back and forth fight, but I think Alessandro Costa manages to get ahead on the points and stay ahead. I think it's going to be a little bit of a disappointing first time out for Alden Correa. Although the fight isn't terribly mismatched, I just think he's not going to have enough. Hopefully he's made the improvements though for his sake, but I think he's not. I think he's just going to get pipped to the post a little bit. Next up, Zach Reese versus Cedric Dumas. I'm going to go with Zach Reese. Both guys good, both guys entertaining. Both guys have potential for finishes. I'm going with Zach Reese just because he's a little bit more consistent, in my opinion. I know, obviously 9-2 compared to 10-3. Doesn't seem like he's more consistent, but he is more consistent. He's consistently good throughout the fight, whereas Cedric Dumas kind of waxes and wanes throughout the fight, and he has his ups and downs, whereas Zach Reese, once he gets in control, he can stay in control for the majority of the fight, and if he isn't in control, he's good at getting that back. So I'm going to go with Zach Reese. I'm going to say Zach Reese by submission over Cedric Dumas. I think he probably gets it. I'm thinking maybe a ghillie or an armbar. But I'm thinking a submission. I'm thinking a submission for Zach Reese. On to the next one. Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurul. I'm going to be going with Jesus Aguilar. I'm in two minds about it. I do think he's had a better quality of opponents, and he's done better against the high quality of opponents than Luis Gurul has. But it is going to be another close back and forth fight. Yeah, I'm confident with Jesus Aguilar. I'm thinking it's going to be another decision though, so I'm going to go with Jesus Aguilar by decision over Luis Gurul. On to the next one. Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. I'm going with Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez is 10-1. Her only loss is to Zhang Weili, I do believe. Here's where I'm talking absolute nonsense. I'm going to go check that just to be certain. Is it? Yeah, Zhang Weili. Her only loss is to Zhang Weili. Up until then, really standout fighter in the division, doing really well, putting a little stamp on it. Obviously, Zhang Weili is one of the best, one of my favourite fighters. So I'm gonna go with Tatiana Suarez. I think the experience of going up against the champion like Zhang Weili and not managing to get it done, I think that kind of puts in perspective what you need to work on. And I think that if she's gone back and she's trained appropriately, then she's got big things in the future. So I think Amanda Lemos is probably going to get beaten. I think it's going to be a decision. I think Tatiana Suarez by a decision. But like not a close decision. I think it's going to be a dominant decision. I think a clear 2 rounds to 1. And I'm thinking probably the latter 2 rounds. So I'm thinking Tatiana Suarez wins 2 and 3, and Lemos wins 1. But it's closer in round 1. On to the next one. Claudio Puelles versus Joaquim Silva. An interesting matchup again. I want to go with Puelles. I do. Decent stand-up, decent submission game. Okay stand-up, decent submission game, I should say. Just okay stand-up. I think realistically, we're asking ourselves, can Puelles manage to get Joaquim Silva down and hunt for that submission? I tend to think he can. It's kind of striker versus grappler, the ancient matchup. I don't know why my nose is so itchy. My mustache is tickling it. It's age-old matchup, if I can get the words out. Age-old matchup, striker versus grappler. I think Puelles manages to get him down, manages to get the submission. I can see him attacking the legs of Joaquim Silva. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Puelles by submission. I'm thinking like round 2 submission, maybe even round 1. But I'm thinking a round 2 submission. I think he probably attacks the legs of Joaquim Silva. Maybe gets a heel hook in there, maybe a knee bar. Puelles likes to attack the legs, so I think we'll see a bit of that from him. So yeah, we're going to go with Claudio Puelles by submission. Next up, we've got Jose Medina versus Dusko Todorovic. I'm going to go with Dusko Todorovic. I think he's marginally better. I think he manages to get the job done. I think he probably catches Jose Medina fairly early. So I'm going to go with Dusko by TKO. Fairly easy pick for me, that one. Next up, we've got Santiago Luna versus Kwang Lee. I like Kwang Lee. I want to go with Kwang Lee. I just found it a little bit difficult. I'll stick with that. I'll go with Kwang Lee. I think he's had some bad matchups, we'll say. He's had some bad matchups. Kwang Lee's had some bad matchups in the UFC. Lost his first 2 fights, manages to get a win in his previous one. I don't think he's up to standard, to be honest. I think there's a few glaring holes in his game. And I think Santiago Luna may be able to exploit those gaps in his game, to be honest with you. But obviously Santiago's making his debut. Maybe the bright lights will make him fumble, make him crumble. Who could say? But you know what? I'm going to go with Santiago Luna with the upset. I'm thinking probably a decision. Both guys probably a bit nervous. Luna, first time out. Kwang Lee not wanting to add another loss to his record. So yeah, we're going to go with Santiago Luna. I'm thinking by a decision. Next up, we've got Alexander Hernandez versus Diego Ferreira. Interesting matchup, but kind of an easier matchup for me to pick. I think I'm going to be going with Alexander Hernandez. He's on a streak. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's on a tear recently. It's good momentum. Diego Ferreira is coming off of a loss. Before that, he did win, but before that, I think he had 2 losses as well. So it's I'm right. Alexander Hernandez is riding momentum, and that means a lot in this sport. Like, riding that momentum is good. Gives you confidence. It makes you feel untouchable. And Alexander Hernandez is on a 3-fight winning streak against decent opponents in around the top 20, top 30 range in his weight class, and he's got some decent wins over them. No pushovers by any stretch. So we're going to go with Alexander Hernandez to keep this momentum up. Yeah, Alexander Hernandez. I'm liking Alexander Hernandez. Methods, I couldn't tell you. I probably think it's going to go to a decision. I think it could go to a decision with these two. Both guys are fairly tough. I could see them sticking it out and going to a decision. So I'm going to go with Alexander Hernandez by decision over Diego Ferreira. Next up, we've got Kelvin Fatselum. Fatty boy's back. I'm picking Dustin Stolfots. I can't trust Kelvin Gastelum to do fucking anything. He's just going to come in morbidly obese and fucking lose. What is it to say, man? Kelvin Gastelum. I've picked against them consistently and done well picking against them consistently as of late. So, what can you do? What can you do? Yeah, I don't rate Gastelum highly much anymore. I mean, back when, I think maybe the Izzy fight took too much out of him. He always struggles to make weight as well. He's not very professional. Yeah, Kelvin Gastelum. Probably not going to go though. I think Dustin Stolfots gets the win. Probably by decision. As much as I'm slagging off Gastelum, he's tough. He is tough, and he will go this. Especially if he misses weight. If he just misses weight and comes in fat again, why won't he just go to a decision? Not like he gets tired. I mean, he could get tired, but I doubt it. So yeah, we're going to go with Dustin Stolfots by decision over Kelvin Gastelum, over Kelvin Gastelum. Next up, we've got Jared Gordon versus Rafa Garcia. Jared Gordon, man, what a tough one for Jared Gordon. He's had like 3 or 4 robberies in his last 5 fights. I think it's been. He's been robbed, allegedly, 3 or 4 times in his last 5 fights. I couldn't tell you exactly. He is good. I just feel like he doesn't do enough to put himself clearly ahead in the fight as a victor when it goes to a decision, and he goes to a lot of decisions. So you'd think for a guy that goes to so many decisions, he'd make a lot more effort to make it clearer. Like if he knows he's not finishing guys and he wins fights by gathering the points and going to a decision, you think he would expand on that. But whatever, that's Jared Gordon. You think he would make it clear if that's his style of fight, is that it goes to a decision a lot. You think he would make that clear and maybe up his output, or maybe try and work on his accuracy to try and make it more clear, because he keeps going to split decisions. And based on that, I'm going with I'm gonna pick Jared Gordon. I think he has enough to get past Rafa Garcia. I think he's going to do enough to get past Rafa Garcia. Yeah. But I do worry for him not making it clear enough. We're going to go with Jared Gordon. We're going to take a chance. We're going to go with Jared Gordon by decision. He's a decision merchant, to be honest. So we'll see how it goes. But if it goes to a split decision, get ready for Rafa Garcia to win the robbery, as people will say online. But yeah, I'm going to go with Jared Gordon by decision. Next up, co-main event time. We've got Rob Font versus David Martinez. We've got the experience versus youth, that's what we've got right here in this matchup. David Martinez is a fair bit younger than Rob Font. Rob Font's been around for a long time, long time. A staple in the UFC, really. Kind of a gatekeeper, we'll say, around bantamweight. Is Rob Font. I don't think David Martinez gets past Rob Font. I'm gonna be honest. I think Font manages to put something together and just stay ahead. I'm gonna go with Rob Font by decision. Taking a chance on that one, but I do think he's just gonna play it like a crafty vet. He's gonna get the points. He's gonna stay ahead. He's gonna play it safe. He's gonna win those first 2 rounds. First 2 rounds. Sorry. He's gonna win those first 2 rounds, and then he's gonna coast in the third. And not really give David Martinez a chance. It's going to be on his bicycle, just moving. It's going to be a little bit boring, but I do think Rob Font wins it. I think he clearly wins round 1 and 2, and then just coasts in the third, and manages to steal the decision away from David Martinez, who never really gets a chance to implement his game plan the way he wants to. Of course, these guys could go out and just trade shots and bang. I just think, even if that does happen, I think David Martinez is. He's not as skilled. He's still too new. He's still improving. And it's a puncher's chance, so anyone can knock anyone out. Anything can happen, but I am going to stick with Rob Font by a decision. Yeah, I'm confident with that. I'm confident with Rob Font's decision. I just don't think I think this is too soon for David Martinez. Rob Font's a pretty decent gatekeeper, and guy who's been around the top 20 for a good while now, consistently as well. So it's a tough one. It's a tough ask of David Martinez. So I'm going to be going with Rob Font. And finally, we have the main event. Diego Lopes versus Gene Silva. I don't know what to do, honestly. So I've been riding the fighting nerds hype train for a little while. Obviously, last week they didn't do very well. Now Gene Silva remains the only one undefeated inside the UFC, I do believe, if I remember right. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But that's okay, because I've always said that Gene Silva's probably the one that's most likely to become champion. And now we have this kind of matchup to put him in position for a belt. But I like Lopez as an underdog. I like Diego Lopez as an underdog. I really, really do. Put up a decent fight as well against Volk. Is a bigger underdog in this fight than he was against Volk. And Gene Silva just kind of decide when to end the fight as well. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, man. I think for the odds, I'm gonna have to go with Diego Lopez. I think with the disparity and that he shouldn't be this big of an underdog. Although Gene Silva is incredible, I don't think Diego Lopez should be this big of a dog. So we're gonna go with Diego Lopez simply for the value. However, I think Gene Silva's probably gonna go on to become a champion. So with a pinch of salt, guys. With a pinch of salt. If we're playing it safe, we pick Gene Silva, but with these picks, it's a gamble with. So we're going to go with Diego Lopez. I think Diego Lopez is a pretty friendly underdog. A pretty likely underdog as well. I mean, you can probably stay safe for a while against Gene Silva. I don't know, I'm torn. I'm so torn. Fuck it. I'm going with Diego Lopez for the cash dollar. Fingers crossed he does it. I haven't picked against Gene Silva in a good little while now. This is my first time in a good while picking against them. But I don't know, maybe the fighting nerds have been derailed. Maybe it's time. Maybe none of them can grapple. Diego Lopez just starts grappling hard. Just holds him down the whole fight. Maybe that's what happens. So yeah, I'm going to go with Diego Lopez. I'm liking a Diego Lopez submission or decision. I think a decision is probably more likely. And Gene Silva, man. Gene Silva could really get a knockout at any time. I think I'll probably have a bit of side action on a Gene Silva knockout. But for my main prediction, for my actual predictions, it's got to be Diego Lopez by a decision. And that is the video. So if you enjoyed it, consider leaving me a like, subscribe for more. And until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.